So that is, again, how some of the content is. On my website, too, there's a link to all of the different content specification outlines called the CSOs. That's at rogercpareview.com. Let's talk about the overall format changes. Now, with the overall format changes, yes, there's still multiple choice. Yes, there's still problems. Yes, there's still essays or written communication. Those are still there. But let's look at a comparison of 2010 to 2011. On the 2010 time side, notice auditing, 4.5 hours, FAIR is 4, reg is 3, BEC is 2.5 for a total of 14. On the other side, it's still a total of 14. But currently, the complaint is not enough time on FAIR and reg, and guess what? That's not going to change. FAIR and reg, you've got to watch the clock carefully. People tend to run out of time. That's why it's really important to prepare in advance to make sure you're watching the clock. You've got maybe a minute and a half for multiple choice. For audit and BEC, most people had too much time. So that's why they said, you know what we'll do? We'll take some of that time out of audit and we'll move it down to BEC. What they're also doing is in BEC, which in 2010 is 100% multiple choice, in 2011 is 85% multiple choice and 15% essay. As far as audit, FAIR, and reg, currently it is audit and FAIR have 90 multiple choice and 2 simulation problems and 2 essays of which 1 is graded. So the way the percentage is broken down is multiple choice make up about 70% of your score, simulation detailed problems, which I'll talk about in a minute, are 20%, and written communication is 10% because there's 2 essays, 1 is graded. So there's currently a written communication on audit, FAIR, and reg. The way it's changing, they take that essay out of audit, FAIR, and reg, move it to BEC. Now some people go, oh, is that good or bad? I think the essay section is probably one of the easier parts. As I'll talk about later, it's just basically writing an essay, a beginning, a middle, and an end, spelling, grammar, punctuation, and so on. Is it relevant? Is it on topic? And so on. Those are easy points. So that's why if you're a good writer, you might want to nail out audit, FAIR, and reg in 2010 if you have the choice, and BEC in 2011, because in 2010, audit, FAIR, and reg are 10% essay. In 2011, audit, FAIR, and reg, no written communication, no essay. However, BEC is 15% essay. So a little bit of exam strategy there, depending on if you're a good writer. Now, as far as audit, currently it is 90 multiple choice, 2 simulation detailed problems, and a simulation is a problem that has multiple tabs on it. So it may have 6, 7, 8 different tabs. Some of them have 3 or 4. And basically, that simulation takes maybe 45 minutes to get through. Each simulation also has 1 essay, of which 1 is graded and 1 isn't. So each simulation currently is worth 10 points, 10 points. Then each one has a written communication. 1 is pre-tested, 1 is graded. What's going to happen? Still 90 multiple choice, but instead of having 2, you're going to have 7 TBS called task-based simulations or simulates. So you're going to have 7 of these, of which 6 are graded, and 1 of them is on research. So 5 are long problems, and they're going to have multiple tabs. They said they could have 1 tab, they could have more than 1, 2 or 3. For example, maybe you've got one on property, plant, and equipment, and a little bit of accounting changes, and maybe a little bit of depreciation on that. It's the same simulate. So on that one, you're going to have, instead of just having 1 or 2, like in the olden days you had 2, which means that if it was on pensions and you hated pensions, that's 10 points. Now, you're going to have 7, of which 1 is not graded as pre-tested, 6 are graded. You're not going to know which one isn't. It's probably the one that you understood. So it's 60% multiple choice, 40% problems. That's actually the way it was back in my day. Back when I took the exam, back in the 80s, back when I had a full head of hair, big afro there. Back in that day, the exam was 60-40. Well, really, that's what it's going back to, 60-40. 60% multiple choice, 40% problems. And again, you're going to have 7 of those. As far as audit, 4 hours. FAIR will still stay 4 hours instead of, again, 90 multiple choice, 2 problems, and 2 essays, of which 1 is graded. It's going to become the same 90 multiple choice, which is 30, 30, 30, as I'll show you in a moment, and 7 problems, of which 6 are graded, 1 is on research. Regulation, 3 hours, is going to remain at 3 hours. However, you still have 72 questions, which means 24, 24, 24. And instead of 2 simulations, 6. Not 7, but 6. Why? Because you only have 3 hours instead of 4. So they're giving you fewer multiple choice, and they're giving you fewer task-based simulations. So you've got 6 problems. 1 is pre-tested, 5 are graded, 1 is on research. As far as BEC, currently 2010, 100% multiple choice. Now that doesn't make it easy. I mean, it's still in economics, financial management, IT, cost and managerial, planning and development and all this. So it's still on a variety of areas. However, currently it's 90 multiple choice, 30, 30, 30. They're going to add 30 minutes to the exam. However, what they're doing is they're adding 3 essays. Now, 3 written communications, of which 2 are graded and 1 is pre-tested. So you get 3 of which 2 are graded. That's worth 15 points. So figure maybe 7.5 points for the 2 that are graded. But again, what's important to realize, as I'll expand in a minute, is the written communication doesn't mean you have to be an expert in economics. You don't have to be Ben Bernanke. All it says is you need to be able to write. It has to be relevant, has to be on topic, has to have good communication skills. But understand, in those 2 columns, it's still going to be a 14-hour adventure. As far as, again, the breakdown currently, you'll see there, you've got fair, audit, and reg, 70% multiple choice, 20% of your score is simulations, 2 of them, written communications, 2 of them. BEC, 100% multiple choice, and that's the way the exam is in 2010. In 2011, you'll see there, fair, audit, and reg are 60% multiple choice, 40% problem, which is, again, the way it was back in my day. So when the partner in the office says, back in my day, blah, 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 that's exactly how it is. And BEC's 85% multiple choice and 15% written communication. Now, to look at the actual breakdown of audit, fair, and reg, you'll see here you've got 3 what we call testlets. And the 3 testlets are multiple choice set 1, set 2, set 3. Now, multiple choice set 1 for audit and fair have 30, 30, 30. For regulation, it's 24, 24, 24. So for audit, fair, and reg, notice 60% of your score comes out of the multiple choice, 40% comes out of the problems or task-based simulations. With the multiple choice, what happens is you click on a window, as I'll show you in a moment. This window opens up. At the top of the screen, you have a countdown clock. Because when you go to the exam, you take it at a testing center called Prometrics, which are located all over the country and all over the world. And you cannot bring stuff with you. You have to get a locker. So you get a locker, you put your watch in there, you wear a jacket. If you wear the jacket, you have to wear it the entire exam. If you get up, and you want to take it off, you can't hang it on your chair, you got to go put it in your locker. Guess what? It's you against a countdown clock. You don't have a watch. 4 hours, 3:59, 3:58, and your heart's beating. Oh my gosh, I should have started studying sooner. All right? So it's you against that count. So you don't have time for fair and reg to get up and lose that jacket. So you want to make sure you plan ahead as far as sitting down. So you start with the multiple choice. Click on the window, opens up a window. You've got 30 multiple choice, and you can go back and forth and back within the 30. The other thing they said at the exam, the way it currently is set up will continue into the future. The way it's currently set up, the first 30 are called a moderate level of difficulty, and then the next 30, if you do well on the first 30, the next 30 get hard, and if you do well, they stay at that difficult, hard level. If you don't do it, you could have moderate, difficult, moderate, or moderate, moderate, difficult. So it's not like the GMAT or GRE where every question gets harder or easier. Here it's a group of 30, group of 30, group of 30. So you have your first 30, you click on that, it opens up the window, got your countdown clock, and you're doing the multiple choice, and it's like a smorgasbord of accounting. So if it's financial, you've got leases and bonds and pensions and consolidations and governmental accounting, nonprofit, foreign currency. It's all thrown in there, question. You've got like 1.5 minutes per question. That's why the upfront preparation is so vital, because you don't have a lot of time. It's not a difficult exam, but you have to go in properly planned and prepared because of the fact you've only got 1.5 minutes, for example, for these multiple choice. So you've got the 30, 30, 30. Then after that, click on the last, and then you get to the task-based simulations. Now, one of the nice things, what's changing, in the current exam, you have 2 problems. You do the first one, boom. You go to the next one, you have extra time, you cannot go back. However, with these 7 simulates, you can go back and forth and back. So when you open it up, you can go to number 1, I don't like that, go to number 3, I like that, number 2, number 4, number 6, I'll go back to number 1. So you can go back and forth. Remembering, audit and fair have 7, of which 6 are graded. Regulation has 6, of which 5 are going to be graded, and 1 of them is going to be a research question. They said, too, at the meeting that each one is worth probably 6 to 7 points, but they're not going to all be of equal weight. So research could be 6 and maybe 5. I mean, I was kind of playing with the numbers and saying research might be, let's say, 5 or 6, and then the rest will be maybe a little bit more heavily weighted. So again, that's the way it's set up. Also remembering that on these 3 exams, which is audit, fair, and reg, there is no longer written communication. There's no longer an essay in 2011 on any of these 3 parts. As far as BEC, with the BEC exam, you'll see here 85% multiple choice, 15% written communication. With the multiple choice, instead of 30-30, you'll have just like reg 24-24-24. So you open up, you do the first 24, then it says, hey, do you want to take a break? You never want to take a break. The clock keeps ticking. So then you go to the next 24. Now, when you go from one set of 24 to the next, you can never go back. When you go to the next, you can never go back. Then you get to the 3 essays. Within the essays, you can jump back and forth and back. So again, you can move around within those written communications. As I said earlier, you'll have 3 written communications, of which only 2 of the 3 will be graded. So of the written communications, only 2 of the 3 will be graded.